Yeah, it's interesting with each class. It seems like people are just like understanding it better. They have a better grasp as to what we're doing. It's not so foreign. I'm excited to do another mat class though.
Oh my god, those are my favorite.
I mean, because I just did 2 table tap classes in a row, so I'm like, mat! Let's do some mat work. So I'm enjoying us kind of throwing like a little bit in there, just to kind of like plant the seed.
Oh yeah. Oh, I mean, I give my heads up. I was like, I love this move, and I will complain about it the entire time because it is so much better on the floor. Bring the arm back down, you know, do our palm presses like this, warming up the tissue very, very nicely, right? And I don't think this one is in your book, but I really, really like this move. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna take our foot hand and we're going to basically hold the hand of our receiver. We're gonna take our head hand and these 2 points in our hand, we're gonna marry them up to the ulnar and radius of our forearm, okay? So foot hands holding, head hands going in, and the trajectory, I'm gonna sink in, hook in, and then I'm literally going like this, just following the perpendicular, parallel trajectory of her arm this way. So I'm gonna sink in right above her nice little wrist bone there, sink in, push. How's that feel? Okay, and you guys can see I'm doing a nice big lunge because I'm going in this direction. And sliding. Now, this is so incredibly slow and boring. It is super boring. It feels amazing though. This is a combination of myofascial release. And then when we get up a little bit farther, I know, I'm sorry, babe, is that too much? Can we lighten up?
Fine.
I can light that.
You're fine.
You want some lotion?
No. I just
Don't do lotion. You'll slide all around.
destroy
Don't do
you.
lotion. That's the other thing, real quick. If you guys are, there we go. If you guys,
45 in the work.
oh, is it? Thank you.
Not that it's all that important. But.
No, I appreciate it,
Oh, so
Silicon
that's in
Feller.
there.
I thought it was. I couldn't find it. It's my first day.
Well, that's because this workbook is 3 times as long as the intro workbook, which class took 3 days.
I know. I love intro. Anyway, I was gonna say something. Oh yeah, if you guys are looking at incorporating table tie into your normal sessions, and I'm gonna guess a lot of your normal sessions have a lot of glide, a lot of oil. This is where you have to actually think a little bit more and plan a little bit more, because if I was going to do this myofascial release and her arm was covered in oil and my hand was covered in oil, I'm gonna slide right off. I'm not gonna get anything that I want. You'll see this also a lot more when you go to do these stretches. You know, you've got them hooked over and you're like, because you can't hold on to them because you both are covered in oil. That is where one of the things you do have to be mindful of is, what am I gonna do next? When I incorporate table tie into my table sessions, it's usually the first thing that I do, and then I'll move on and do my glidey work. And then I'll flip them over and I'm like, all right, it's stretchy time. You know, I've dried off my hands, done it again, and then we'll go into our oily work. Okay, that's just what has worked for me. There are times where I've slipped it in, but it's a lot of just like, okay, really hold, don't slip, let me grab a towel, and it's just, you know.
Someone just grab a towel and dry them off, but it's like,
yeah,
you know, it's weird.
It's a thing. So it just takes a little bit more planning than what I would normally do in a different kind of session. So moving a little bit faster.
Yeah.
I know.
It's okay.
I'm trying to teach you.
I know.
Move a little bit faster so you guys can see. But this part is very, very slow because we're doing the myofascial release. To go, if you have somebody that's just not moving, you can, you know, press in, lift up, go ahead, you know, skip up a little bit, press in, push, lift up, skip up a little bit, you know, kind of walk your way up. I'm going to do that because I want to show you guys. When you get to about 2/3 of the way up on that nice big, you know, fleshy part of the forearm, we're going to come in, I'm going to hook in like this, and then you're going to have your receiver. Go ahead and type on your computer. Is that how you type?
No, I don't type.
I mean, very clearly you don't type. That is very clear. Most people type like this. Kristen's gonna slap them. So, yep,
Obviously, I'm not an office worker.
Very clearly, and your text messages now make much more sense.
It's all like this.
And then you have them move your mouse. Go ahead and move your mouse, just like that. So what this does is this is also a pin and stretch. But what it does for our receivers is it lets them know that their mouse work, their computer work is actually affecting their body. We can tell them all day long, and they'll be like, yes, at your desk, I know it's bad for me, ha. And you're like, yes, it is bad for you, ha. And, and that just kind of goes around, and nothing ever actually happens. But when you're pressing in on these these areas always need work on nearly everybody, and you're like, hey, go ahead and move your mouse hand around. And they're like, oh, I feel that. And you're like, I know, right? And then they're super excited, and you're super excited, and then you're like, hey, I can help you with that. Okay, so that's the first one.
I even sometimes, like when I feel someone that's arms like mine, I do the little pressy thing to soften it, and then I do my glide, because the glide is so important. It is. It is very, very important to get that myofascial release. And to go all the way. And to, Kristen's very upset that I stopped. Well, because then they don't see it, You do go all the way up. When you get to the elbow joint, you just be a little bit more mindful because it is a joint, but yeah, you go up. Bring that all the way up to really get that nice, that stretch and pull in there. Try to do it one more time. I bet it'll actually move from the bottom. No, I believe you. She really wants me to do this. I know that we're going to go around showing each person again because they didn't see it quite yet. So I'm going slightly faster. But you feel like it's moving better, right? I still feel super dense, babe. I know. So anyway, 14 years later, one of the things to be mindful of is when you're doing this top forearm work is you can press in really deeply in between the radius and ulna, which can feel good, but if you hold it for too long, you can irritate those nerves. And if that happens, they can have like some weakness in their hand. It's not going to be for forever, most likely. Obviously, I'm not a doctor, go see a doctor. But it's something to be mindful of. So don't like go, hog wild crazy, just like, ha, because like some people can put an elbow in there. Some people love it. Some people are like, oh, I can't use my hand now. So just, use your discretion on what you think is best. So take this. I also do think that when we do these pin and stretch things, where we're having them do the active movement, that it helps move the hand along when you're on stuck people like me. Definitely. Like that little movement, it's like, okay, my hand can creep now. Whereas before it was like on a speed bump. It definitely does. And I'm also like, hey, you might want to drink more water.